Is going to come from a blog. Published collection. And, well, let me just read the topics for you, and I'll tell you which ones we're going to talk about today. Turning Tijuana, Mexico into a startup center was the first story. Uh, I have memories of Tijuana, Mexico myself. I tried to teach my sons, Jordan and Sam, about small business in Tijuana, Mexico. They must have been about uh, 8 or 9, 9 and 10 at the time. We went out to San Diego and Tijuana, Mexico, just across the border from San Diego. Well, it's an hour across the border, an hour or more across the border. And the purpose of taking Jordan and Sam there were just to give them a taste of life in Mexico. Actually, the 2 or 3 trips that I have made to Tijuana in my lifetime are the only times I've been to Mexico. So we went, and I gave each of the boys $10, and I wasn't going to let them out of my sight. Tijuana, Mexico, also has been known for some bad activity, but I didn't let the boys out of my sight. But I was going to give them each for $10, and the game that we were going to play was to see how much merchandise could we collect, each of us separately, with the $10. I came back with two Mexican blankets myself, but the boys, after about 10 minutes of playing the game, came to me both and said, "Dad, can we go home?" So we left Tijuana, Mexico. That's not the story that we were going to talk about. Creativity and leadership go hand in hand, and Diablo and money certainly is important, but for me, as I said, it's never been a driving factor. What has been more of a driving factor for me that my father had bought, uh, to make a profit. A second dream that I created for myself in the early 1970s was that I was someday going to publish a book. I didn't know what the book was, what the content was going to be. I didn't know much about the book other than I wanted to publish it. Not only did I want to write and edit and assemble the book, but I wanted to be the publisher of the book. I wanted to find out what it takes to literally publish a book. So I did that, and I was able to do that. But I did not realize that until almost 35 years after I set that as a dream. Didn't matter, but what mattered was I was able to set a dream and in my lifetime realize that dream, knowing that it was all about the right timing. And the right timing was 4 years ago. You've seen my book before. You'll see it many times again. Oh, I tore the cover off of that one. No, I didn't. How do you answer these 749 questions about your small business? And when I wrote the book, when I published the book, I didn't realize the impact at that time, the total impact the book was going to be, what it was going to mean to me. I knew for sure when I published the book that it was not going to be about um, how many books could I sell and would I become a best-selling author. That was never on my mind. But I wanted to go through the process. I wanted to understand what it was all about so that I could share the experiences with folks like yourself. Uh, Little did I know that 4 years after I published the book, it was going to become the centerpiece of what I am doing today with my life, and that is building David's Barter community. It has become the centerpiece because not only are those questions, those 749 questions, very important, still important. They will always be important to small business, not necessarily to the business that you're doing. Let's be very clear about that. All 749 questions are not important to every small business or every new business startup. However, many of them are. Certainly the categories that I created in the book are 5 different categories. But then you go within those categories to find out which questions in those categories are important for you and what you're trying to do. Putting that aside, more important than that today is the fact that the 749 questions that I created, that I researched, that I actually wrote my book literally from the time I started to organize my thoughts till the time I was actually able to hold up a printed book was 100 days. It was 100 days where I spent all waking hours focused on getting that book published. And inside that book of 749 questions are over 1,000 small business keywords. And today, small business keywords are how people navigate in David's Barter community. You come into the community, the marketing efforts that we do bring you in the front door of the community. Once inside the front door, then small business keywords will take people to your community marketing profile or your community landing page, your very optimized, very Googleized landing page. So that's how important the book is today. But I didn't know that. I did not know that when I started. The objectives were a little bit different. Quite honestly, the initial objective of the book was to get it into the hands of students of entrepreneurship. And indeed, I did that. I distributed, sold, marketed several thousand books to students in grades 6 through 8, students in high school, secondary school, which was 9 through 12, just basic parameters, and college and university students. They were my initial target of that book. And interesting enough, today, those 3 sociographic categories, students of entrepreneurship, are very important to the growth and development of David's Barter community. Because those folks, and maybe you're in one of those 3 categories of students of entrepreneurship, the students of entrepreneurship are the future for tomorrow's entrepreneurship and businesses. So we must get those students in the right mindset and demonstrate clearly that starting a business is a viable option after getting X amount of years of education. If you are a college graduate student, recent college graduate student, let's say the last 3, 4, 5 years, your objective to going to college was probably to find a job. It might be a job in marketing, it might be a job in sales, it might be whatever the specific industry, or you might want to become a doctor or a lawyer, a nurse, whatever your choice was, and you needed to get a college education to enter into that particular job field. I posed the question, what has happened in the last 4 or 5 years to those students who went to college in order to get a job? The success rate, and I don't need to tell you if you're there now, or you certainly probably know somebody in that category. Very, very difficult to find a job. Not difficult as such to start a business. And you've even heard me say uh, more than one time, well, two things I've said more than one time. Is it more risky to have a job, or is it more risky to start a business? If you've never started a business, risk does not have to be an important part of your mindset. And I just did a YouTube a couple days ago, maybe yesterday or the day before, about risk versus passion, risk that people think about as a mindset versus passion that people have in starting a business. I contend that it's more riskier to have a job. And my validation for that statement is just ask the millions of people who have become unemployed in the last several years. That was a risk that they took when they started that job, because they did not have control over their own destiny. Somebody else might say tomorrow, you no longer have a job. That's a pretty risky proposition. However, when you have a business, you determine if you're going to have a job tomorrow. No question about that. When you start a business, you have control over your destiny. As you start your business, hopefully making the right business decisions so that your business continues to grow and provide the kind of lifestyle that you want. It is not simple to start a business. It can be made more simple than people will lead you to believe. I can tell you that from my experiences of the last 2 years, 3 years, as I've started 2 businesses in the last 2 years, it was much more simple for me to start a business. I could start one more efficiently than I ever have in my entire life. And right now I've developed a landing page in the community for folks who are over 60 years old and are thinking about starting a business. A website called Our Platinum Years. Our Platinum Years is the name of the website. I made contact with Marion Banker, who is the creator of that website. And together we came up with an idea that I would create a landing page just for folks in that particular demographic, and all the information and all the content on that page would be geared to folks who are 60 years old and thinking about starting a business. And Marion gave me 7 or 8 categories that she wanted me to focus on, so I'm creating YouTubes for each one of those categories. And it's really a fun experience to put that page together. And hopefully, not hopefully, well, we will motivate people who are over 60 years old who want to start a business. We will help them. We will guide them through that process. It doesn't have to be difficult. So I have based upon my years of experience, I have taken the process of starting a business and made it as simple and as efficient as possible. 2 of the major areas that you have to tackle as you're starting a business, or even if you're in business, are marketing, and I call it social marketing. I'm not into this thing of social media. I'm into social media. Stickham.com is social media. YouTube is social media. But it's only part of the bigger picture of things. So we take the social marketing, which you have to deal with today if you want to start a business or grow your existing business. You have to understand who your target audience is and how do you reach those people. based upon the behaviors and the lifestyles of those folks. Folks are spending much of their life on smartphones, and so it is key, if you're going to reach certain segments of the population, that you understand how to market to the smartphone. That's a huge dynamic, something different than I've ever done before. And it is indeed the challenge. There's no bigger challenge to Facebook right now than to develop a presence, develop the technology that can make the users of Facebook be able to use their smartphones to communicate with their Facebook friends and family. That's their biggest challenge. Okay, that's social marketing. Social network technology, the technology that creates the environments where people communicate with one another. That's what social network technology is. Those environments that people pick, like you and I, and we belong to communities. We belong to communities of people. And the developers of those communities, the developers of Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, they have presented technology platforms that they believe are the best way for you to communicate with other members of that particular community. That's what social network technology is about. So you have to understand social network technology, which is a part of the social marketing of your new business or your existing business. We do indeed live in a new world, a different world, an exciting world, a world that really runs more efficiently than it ever has before in terms of the technology that helps us to create those efficiencies. I was speaking with a gentleman earlier today. He was about my age, maybe a little bit older, and he had worked his entire life in the paper industry. And we got to talking, and I told him that when I first started out in the world, in my adult world, whereas the paper industry itself, I was not in that industry, I needed paper to publish. I needed paper for my 2 publications to be printed on. So we had a good time talking about days of yesterday here, but I made the statement to him that publishing today almost doesn't even look like how we published years ago. We all still probably read magazines. I still read maybe 10 different magazines. Not necessarily on a regular basis, but interesting enough, each one of those magazines that I read has a presence on the internet in a non-printed fashion, in a website, in a blog, in a whatever it is. And I made a statement to this gentleman today. I didn't even get his name. There are more e-books being distributed today where there's no printing being done. Amazon sells more e-books today than they sell printed books, traditionally printed books. We do, in fact, live in a different world. So let's quickly get back to our blog on success and see how success is defined. A lot of needless suffering is rooted in the misconceptions of success. We are surrounded, and this is an article written by the author is not written, but here we go. Success is, life is about moving forward, not ending up where you started. That is the journey toward success. Starting, setting a goal and objective, taking the journey, reaching your destination for that particular dream, that particular journey. Okay, I'm just going to, without commentary, going to outline how to redefine the meaning of success. Number 1, ask yourself, What is success? I just shared with you my definition of success. Number two, how do I achieve that success? The road to achieving success is going to be a different road, unique to yourself, who creates the journey, creates the dream. Your realization of success is what you define, and how you get there. There's no set formula on how to get to a successful stage in life. You will determine that. So be prepared to deal with that. Okay, those were the two questions. Second section, don't wait, start now. Well, that's really the end of it. The success journey will not happen unless you start right now. So my friends, my message to you in this segment, this chapter of starting a business is get your business started today. Started right now. You determine for yourself what is your definition of success of that business. How do you define that? Not how someone defines it for you. How are you going to define success in your life? And it's going to be your roadmap on that journey towards success that is either going to get you there or not get you there. But once again, you have control over that destiny. You have control on how you're going to get there. It's not something that someone is necessarily going to dictate to you, unless, and there is a caveat, unless dependent upon you achieving success, you have to use other people's money to get there. Now, using other people's money is not a bad thing. Using other people's money may be better than using your own money. When you use your own money, it's gone. When you use other people's money, you still have your money before it's gone. But when you use somebody else's money, there are going to be rules. And rightfully so. Someone shouldn't give you money unless they have an expectation of return on that investment that they are making. That's not unreal. That is real. And people, depending upon who it is and how much money you need and how you're going to use that money, they're going to have different parameters. So you being successful is not just about your formula for success, but in using somebody else's money, they will tell you what their rules for your success will be, and you have the choice to either take it or move on, however it is that you're going to move on. And in summary, one of the reasons that I have been able to realize the success that I have in my life is that I've basically done it with my own money. I've only had one bank loan in my life. Now, using my own money had its ups and its downs, no question about it, no question about it. But I was successful in using my own money because it allowed me to do what I want to do, when I want to do it, and how I want to do it. This will be the end of this segment. Our next segment will be another blog that I read about 7 tips for getting your business ready for 2013.